Hello people, this is Socrates' son. In this video, I will join my dear friend Ihsaan and respond to a video they call Answering Atheists and Against Nihilism. What was it? Just a moment, one moment please. Examining Nihilism. This nihilism issue, it's very trendy for the Muslim community. How all this started? A guy named the Pondering Soul made a dissertation about nihilism, and suddenly nihilism became the number one issue of all the Muslim world. The Ayatollah Khomeini will make a lecture against nihilism. Okay, let's start.
Whatever point it is they're trying to make, and move on. Right, Ihsaan! Ihsaan. You're too nice. There's no good cops in the room, bro. There's no good cops. And Subboor's looking hungry, but we're gonna bring you on anyway. All right, bro.
Hi, Subboor. Hi, Hamza. Thanks for having me on again.
Not a problem.
So, okay, well, I think I'll have to start off by saying I actually disagree with virtually everything you've said, Subboor. So this should make a very interesting chat. Okay. So you mentioned about nihilism. You're saying about how there's no purpose or meaning to life if you're an atheist. Is that what you said?
Objective.
Yes. Okay. Well, actually, I could switch that round, because if you're an atheist, you accept this is your only life, and so because of that, you want to make as much of it as you can, and that's quite a common philosophy. And Hamza, you said earlier that theists don't have you can't be a nihilist and a theist. But if you look at it, the theist lifestyle.
Shall I repeat what I said?
Okay, before you do that, Hamza, let me elaborate the very good point Ihsaan makes. An eternal afterlife diminish the value of this life to zero, essentially. Okay, imagine this line representing our 80 years on this earth. You see this small line on the top? This small line represents our 80 years on this earth. Now, let's compare our 80 years on this earth with 1 million years. You see how small this line looks in comparison with 1 million years. Now, if the 1 million years line becomes eternity, in comparison, the small line tends to go to zero. It keeps going to zero. Okay, it keeps touching zero, and because eternity is an evolving, dynamic state, it keeps touching zero. So it's essentially zero. What I'm trying to say is that in comparison to the eternal afterlife, the value of this life becomes zero, literally.
So you don't misquote me.
Okay, sorry.
I said.
I think. All right.
Theism.
Yeah.
Can't lead to nihilism.
Sure. Okay.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I think that's what you said. Okay, so sorry if I misquoted you, but yeah. So
no problem. I'll correct you.
When I think about it, when you have theism is if you divide this life into this life and then the afterlife, if you happen to believe in an afterlife. Okay, so if you're a theist, in many ways you can actually be a nihilist for this current life, and this is the only life you're guaranteed to have. And I remember a Christian woman saying, that she didn't care if she died. So if she was walking along the pavement and a car came off the road and was about to hit her, she wouldn't care, because she would die and then she'd go and be with Jesus, which is what she really wanted. I can say, and also, as a Muslim, you have your paradise, which is what, many amazing things in paradise. So, if you're going to be, if you're a Muslim, why would you care if you're about to die? Because if you've led a good life as a Muslim, you're going to go to paradise and then.
All right, can I just stop you a second, if you don't mind?
Before you do that, Hamza, this was again a very good point. Your argument, Hamza and Subboor, presupposes God is true and the afterlife is real. That's a circular argument. You presuppose your worldview is true to prove your worldview. Now, let's assume the afterlife is not real and God is not real. Let's take the equation. You already said, Subboor, without God, life is meaningless. Now, if God doesn't exist, what did you say? Life is meaningless. In the cosmological reality that God doesn't exist, in the cosmological reality that God doesn't exist, you just said that life is meaningless. So you are the nihilist. You just admitted that. So what you say presupposes that your worldview is true. Did you prove that? Did you prove that your worldview is true? So what Ihsaan is saying is that, yes, but you are presupposing your worldview. What if there is no God? Then you become the nihilist. Subboor, admittedly. Although that's very strange because we don't see Muslim act like nihilist at all. We don't see Muslim apply your ideology, act like nihilists. We don't see that. They care about this life. Morality, they care, eh? That's the strange thing. Reality contradicts this hypothesis.
Sure.
Because you're just taking one point here. A nihilist is not just talking about dying, it's everything.
No, I mean, nihilism is in, there's no intrinsic meaning or anything like this. Which
To anything at all.
Okay, well, in which case you need to agree that there are grades of nihilism. So, you could be a very weak nihilist for, for some things, because in a way, okay, I would agree that if you're an atheist, you have to have a very, very weak form of nihilism in that there's no external meaning to your life. So I don't believe that I was put on this earth for any reason other than the fact that my parents wanted children. Okay, so whatever meaning I have is I've given it to my life. Okay, so I create meaning for my life, and I want to do. I know I'm only here for however many decades, and I don't believe in an afterlife. I think that when I die, that's the end. So I want to make the most of this life so that to improve the well-being of people around me and to leave a legacy, because when I go, I want something nice to be remembered by. So I do value a lot of things. I value life. I value people. I value science. I value the arts. All these kinds of things. Yeah. So
Before you say something, Subboor, okay, Ihsaan makes a very good point. The only thing purpose requires is consciousness. Without conscious beings, there is no purpose or value in this universe. Sentient beings introduced purpose and value in this world. But let us prove that conclusively. And then let's enjoy what Subboor will say afterwards when we know conclusively that he is wrong. Let's make a hypothesis. Let's say God populated this universe only with robots. God programmed these robots to do his will. Therefore, these robots are doing God's will. Therefore, these robots are doing the ultimate purpose of God. Does these robots have purpose and meaning? No, why not? Because they don't have consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the factor, not God. In the case of these robots, God exists. They are doing his will. They are doing his ultimate purpose. Still, they don't have purpose and value. They don't understand value. Still. So, purpose and value requires consciousness, not an ultimate consciousness, a third-party consciousness. So, what was the definition of nihilism? Nihilism is the belief that all values are baseless and that nothing can be known. Okay, I just disproven that. Because as long as there is consciousness in the universe, values have a base. Thank you. Socrates' son. Let's continue. Guys, what is meaning? Meaning is computing something, a physical structure, our mind recognizing a physical structure or a logical pattern, then adding a sentiment. That is meaning. For that, the only thing you need is consciousness. So, as long as there is consciousness in the universe, that means that there is meaning in the universe. That means that nihilism is disproven. Thank you again. Socrates' son.
Do you value taking over, say, a country, right, and occupying it, subjecting its people to concentration camps, like we have atheists who are doing that to Muslims in East Turkestan? Do you think that that's a valuable, good thing to do?
Well, you've gone off on a bit of a tangent, but no, I don't think what's happening to the Uyghurs is a good thing. Definitely not. No. So
okay, so you believe doing science, sitting in London or wherever you are, is a good thing, and doing what the Chinese government's doing to the Uyghurs, who are also atheists like you are, that's a bad thing. You believe that to be true?
Okay. Let's test what the Communist Party in China is doing and whose fault is that. Let's test that. First of all, the China Communist Party is a dogmatic system, exactly like Islam. What they are doing, they are implying blasphemy laws. Who has blasphemy laws? You pathetic buffoon. Who has blasphemy laws? Atheism? No, you have blasphemy laws. First of all. Secondly, who is brainwashing children like the Communist Party in China? Atheist, secular humanist, Richard Dawkins, Hitchens. No, you brainwash children like what they do in China, like the Communist Party. Who has the apolitarchic, totalitarian dictatorship? Secular democracies, maybe. Subboor, secular democracies have a totalitarian dictatorship with propaganda, with brainwashing, with death for apostasy. Secular democracies have this. No, your ideology have those. Subboor, you are the communist China. But when you see what you are doing to others is wrong. Go see in the mirror and understand that you are the same. Subboor. Okay, so save us this guilt. And let's continue. Whose fault is the suffering of the Rohingyas in China? Whose fault is that? They started doing that after Rohingyas made Islamic terrorist attacks. They are afraid that Islam will annex a part of China. That's why they are doing it. After there were Islamic terrorism in China, because of your ideology, okay, because Chinese know the history of Islam, like in India, Pakistan, like everywhere it goes, they know that Islam opposes an existential threat to China, which is true, by the way, okay, which is true, by the way, seen all over history, because they recognize the existential threat of Islam to China. That's why they are doing that. I'm not justifying them. They are criminals. But that's the reason. Islam is the cause for the suffering of those people. And communist China. Nothing to do with atheism, my friend. Nothing to do with atheism. Secular democracies have nothing to do with this. This is you, Islam, and communism. The two factors combined brought the suffering to these people. Don't cry, my childs. One day we will get rid of Islam and communist China, and you won't need to suffer anymore. What is wrong with this, Subboor? I thought morality has no inherent value. Life is meaningless. So why you care? Why you care, my friend? These kids will probably have an afterlife. Subboor, although we are not sure because your God is a psychopath, so maybe because these children will become communists when they grow up, they will go to hell. Subboor, in your ideology, these children will go to hell because when they grow up, they will become communist Chinese. Okay? So why you care, first of all, when morality has no inherent value? You have an ideology that is not related to suffering and well-being, is related to rituals of Islam. So why you care in the first place? Subboor, if God sees this and gets angry and recognizes that's evil, that means that morality underlines God. My friend, the only way your hypothesis works is if God, in an abstract environment, just prescribes things. He's not considering anything. If your God recognizes the suffering, feels sad, in other words, watching these children suffer, and then installs his absolute, that means that your God believes in secular morality related to suffering. Wake up. Let's continue.
Is bad, but I actually think I'd say you're being a bit dishonest. I think you need to understand that. Let me just explain. Atheism is just the non-acceptance of your God claim. Okay, so atheists don't accept any God. You don't accept any. You don't accept thousands and thousands of God except one. Okay, and the other thing is because I know this comes up a lot. They talk about, oh, what about the Nazis? What about the communists? A lot of them were atheists, but the thing about the Nazis and the communists, they took out religion. Now, please let me finish. They took out religion and they replaced it with their own religion.
It's on 1 second. You spoke for a while. I was addressing your earlier point. You raised a different point. And the reason I was asking these questions was to steelman you, essentially. I'm just trying to understand your position.
Sure.
So I didn't bring it up as a random example. Those are brutal atheists. Those are atheists. So when we are speaking about, for example...
Okay, let's refute this argument conclusively. Okay, after my refutations, there is no debate. Let's refute this argument conclusively. You are making a red herring. The distinction is not atheism, theism, it's dogma with reason. That is the distinction. Let me explain how that works. Subboor, let's say you were a deist. What deism means? Deism means that you believe in a God, but you don't think that he intervenes in the universe. So you just believe in a God, but you don't have a dogma. So, Subboor, let's say you were a deist, like Einstein might have been a deist. Let's say you were a deist. You didn't have a book, the Quran, you didn't believe in Muhammad, you just believe in God in general. Okay, can I accuse you for the crimes of ISIS if you are a deist? Just because you believe in God, can I accuse you for the crimes of ISIS? No, I cannot. Because what is the definition of deism? believe in the existence of a supreme being, especially of a creator who does not intervene in the universe. Do you see anywhere in this definition you should follow ISIS? Do you see anywhere in this definition you should enslave women? You should follow ISIS? No, there isn't any such thing in this definition. The same is atheism. The opposite of atheism is deism. It's not theism. The definition of atheism is this. Atheism, disbelief or lack of belief in the existence of God or gods. That is the definition. Do you see inside this definition, you should join the communism China? Okay, can you now understand your logical error? Atheism doesn't include communism. The same way deism doesn't include ISIS. Now, can you drive a connection between the Communist Party of China and Islam? Yes, you can, because Islam, it's got dogma, it's got a whole book, it's got Muhammad. And you can say, oops, what China says, we should brainwash children. Let's see Islam, what it says. We should brainwash children. What China says, we should install a dictatorship. What Sharia says, you should install a dictatorship. So, communism China is closer to you than to atheism. My friend, you are communist China. Subboor, wake up. You are communist China. What communism China is doing, Sharia law is doing as well.
This scenario where you're an atheist and you're saying, I want to do science and science is a good thing. Assalamu alaikum, Imran.
Welcome, Salam. How are you guys doing? You
Hi,
okay?
We can all agree.
Ihsaan, nice to see you. I'm glad you're on, mashallah. That's
Nice to
good.
see
We can
you
all
again.
agree having Dr. Imran in the stream is an objectively good thing.
Alhamdulillah.
So now you have two doctors here.
I didn't realize.
Okay, so you said you have value, and because you only live once, and you have value things. So what you value is good, doing science. What they value is bad, killing Muslims, raping Muslims, doing all this type of stuff they're doing. However, isn't it the case that from your position, they're both subjective? Your view is subjective, their view is subjective, and there's no difference between the two.
No, let me explain why. You confuse objective with absolute. The only thing objective requires is a fixed point of reference. I can objectively say that Mary is on the right of John from Socrates' son perspective. That's not absolutely true. If I go on the other side, Mary is on the left of John. So, what I'm saying now is not an absolute truth, but objectively, from my perspective, Mary is on the right of John. So, the fixed point of reference is me. So, the only thing something requires to be objective is a fixed point of reference. So, it's not about objective or relative, it's about which definition of morality is true. If Ihsaan's definition of morality, which is related to suffering and well-being, is true, then he can objectively say that what Chinese are doing to Rohingyas is wrong. If his definition of morality is true. So it's not about objective or relative, it's about which definition of morality is true. So we got over the argument, without God we cannot account for objective morality, and we need to investigate which definition of morality is true.
Okay, well, now if you want to move on to morality, actually, then I mean, my opinion is all morality is subjective. I don't believe there is any real objective morality, because we're all different. We all have our own opinions, and I don't think appealing to a God will actually solve that. And what I'm saying is, okay, if you look at it, the way to discuss morality is, firstly, everybody has to define what they mean by morality, and morality is different according to different people. So, to me, morality is about improving well-being. Okay, other people may feel that morality is just doing what God wants them to do, regardless of what the consequences in this life are. If it's what God wants, then that's moral. So, and I would disagree with that. That's why I wouldn't have I couldn't discuss that with somebody. And if somebody came in and said morality is any behavior that increases your wealth, I'd say, well, that's not my morality, so we can't have a discussion on that. So the reason, when you have morality,
can I just make one point? Can I just make one point? When you came on the live stream, you said everything that we've said is wrong, but we claimed under atheism, morality is subjective. So we're not wrong about that, are we?
But you're wrong in the sense that you said it's subjective in atheism, but I think you were implying that under theism it's objective. Whereas my opinion.
Okay, so Ihsaan, give us a little bit of credit. Even if you can show theism has subjective morality, at least we're correct that atheism leads to subjective morality.
God damn it, I'm saying that a year now, but nobody listens. Okay? I am like a ghost. I have made like 15 videos. Nobody sees my videos. Except, of course, Ihsaan, my dear friend. I'm like a ghost. Okay, let's repeat that one more time. We need to make a distinction between objective to absolute. Objective is something related to a fixed point of reference. Absolute is the reference by its own merit. For example, the example I gave earlier with the bench. From my perspective, I can objectively say, it's not an opinion, from my perspective, I can objectively say that Mary is on the right of John. That's not my opinion, if you take my point of reference, but that's not absolute. In an absolute sense, Mary is not on the right of John. If you take the perspective of on top of the earth, Mary is, I don't know. If you take the perspective of Einstein, of relative time, Mary might be, I don't know, on top of John. I don't know. Okay, but from my perspective, if we pinpoint down my perspective and make that the fixed point of reference, I can objectively say that Mary is on the right of John. Now, you will tell me why your perspective is the best perspective. That's another question. That's why I say now the question becomes which definition of morality is true, not the objectivity. We can achieve objectivity with whatever. Okay, let's make a hypothesis, okay? Let's say the devil rules this world and says killing children is good. That's objectively good if we take the perspective of the devil. But that's not morality, because that's not the true definition of morality. It's not about objectivity, it's about which is the true definition. Can you understand now what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, so atheism leads to subjective morality.
We're not wrong about everything, right?
No, okay. Well, I mean, I disagreed with. I disagreed with you on a lot of things. That's what I really meant. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's deal with another contradiction. You said that it's bad what the atheist communist regime is doing to the Muslims, and doing science is good. But then you just said they're both subjective.
Yeah, because for me, it's bad because it's bad for well-being. That's because I define morality as well-being. So you can talk lots of things. You can say, we can all say murder is bad, but then you could have, Jeffrey Dahmer join your live stream and he'll go on about how murder is good. So it is all subjective. So we need to start off by defining what is morality. To me, it's well-being. So if we all sit down, if we all agree that well-being is the basis of morality, it is the best basis for morality, then what will happen is we can then make objective statements. So it's like if you had a chess game, you don't have to play chess, but if we are going to play chess, we have to agree on the rules first, and then once we agree on the rules, then we can decide on what is an objectively good chess move and what is an objectively bad chess move.
But say you're sitting in front of Xi Jinping, right? And you say, I believe morality is well-being, right? I believe morality is well-being, maximum well-being for everyone, or maximum pleasure, happiness. And he says, for me, the highest goal from which he derives objective derivatives is the supremacy of the Communist Party of China.
Yeah, so we can't agree on morality then. So I wouldn't have a morality discussion with Xi Jinping because we disagree on things.
How can we demonstrate that the true definition of morality is related to suffering and well-being? And the answer is because that is what we mean as humans when we refer to morality. This is what we mean. Let me give you an example to understand. How can we prove that jealousy generally refers to the thoughts or feelings of insecurity, fear, and concern over a relative lack of possessions or safety? Jealousy can consist of one or more emotions such as anger, resentment, inadequacy, helplessness, or disgust. How you know this is the true definition of jealousy? Subboor, how you know this is the true definition of jealousy? Maybe jealousy means an intense feeling of deep affection. Maybe that is jealousy. An intense feeling of deep affection. How you know this is not the true definition of jealousy? You see now your logical error, my friend. Morality is what it is because that symbolizes to the human mind. Morality is just a word, it's just a mental symbol that symbolizes a certain thing. Now, it's plain obvious that this thing that we mean with morality has to do with suffering and well-being. I can give you examples that this makes it clear obvious. Let's see now, let's see this clip. The first clip was Rohingya babies crying. The second clip was Rohingya baby with its mother. The first was immoral. Why? Because some monks, magic, God, monks, magic and prayer. Maybe they took the Hajj. Maybe Hajj. Subboor, why the first clip was immoral? Because they didn't do the Hajj. They didn't pray 5 times a day. Obviously, because they were suffering. Why the second clip is moral? Because the baby is with his mother. It doesn't suffer. It promotes the baby's well-being. Okay, that is what we humans mean with morality. Okay, you aliens don't know what you mean, but we humans mean this with morality. We don't mean take the hats, God in an abstract environment roll dice, and said, that's moral because magic. That is not what we mean. We have another word for magic, another word for morality. When humans, we say morality, that is what we mean. Simple. There is not an exegesis. It's just mental concepts that relate to a physical circumstance. Okay, thank you, people, because this, although I want to see, and I will see the next video with Ihsaan, this video took forever. I cannot continue because it's already, I think, 40 minutes. Thank you very much.